Welcome, we're here at the 2018 Rigid Rampage at Ridgecrest. We're in Southern California, not too far from home of King of the Hammers. It is hot. That is the issue of the weekend. There's lots of dust. It's been 111 degrees already out here, and we just came from Kentucky. Wet, cool, muddy. So drastic changes. These guys had hundreds and hundreds of pounds of mud on their car, and now we're here in the dry desert heat. It's been a wild weekend already, but the qualifying is getting ready to kick off. But like I said, Kentucky was just a month ago. We have a great highlight. Let's check it out.
You know, it is what it is. It's racing. What do you do?
When you're competing at the front of the sport, to make it to the next level, it's not just one thing, it's everything. You're already dedicated, you're already invested your life and your whole livelihood into this sport, and you're like, how do I get better? How can I be better? This car behind me is something that everybody else doesn't do. This car was just going to be a laser cut chassis. Then it was just going to be, oh, maybe we'll make it a roller. This car is the culmination of 2 years of development after we did the initial prototype 6 years ago, that we've crossed every T, dotted every I, and they're identical and perfect in their design for what they are made to do. And now I want to prove why that was worth doing, and win another championship and hopefully a third King of the Hammers next year.
I'm gonna go stand under something metallic and tall.
It's sloppy. The clay around here, it really tacks up, and we describe it as peanut butter. It doesn't seem to want to wash off the track, and very slippery.
I got lucky. I drew last to qualify, so the track really shaped up for me. So it was kind of one of those deals that good Lord's on my side, and can't thank him enough for that. That was really nice.
My second place qualifying run, I thought was super slow. I thought I had a lot of mistakes. I just thought I wasn't fast at all, but that's the mentality you got to have, that maybe slow is fast here, and if you try to go too fast, you're going to screw up and it's going to end your day. Back in the early days of doing this, I could go out here and I could make laps and I could do it at a fast pace and I could guarantee third place. Today, if I go out here and I stop one time for anything, if I go in the pit and just pull in there and drive around, it's likely to kill me. If you don't have a perfect day, you are not going to win this race.
And what a race that was. I mean, that just goes to show these are unlimited race cars. They can go from the mudding in Kentucky to the dry desert here in Southern California. It's just a spectacle on how awesome these cars really are. Today we are doing a qualifying lap for the KMC Hard Charger. So huge shout out to KMC. They've stepped up. They're going to reimburse each class for the fastest guy and do the Hard Charger award. Today it's a 1.1 mile loop. These guys want to leave it all on the line because they want to start up front with clean air. I've talked to a lot of people. They want to run 90% plus, probably not 100%, but a few definitely will with that helmet on. I got the chance earlier today to ride with 2 times Nitto King of the Hammer, Lauren Healy. That was a chance of a lifetime. What a great ride it is. Check it out. Hey guys, it's Miles Haskowitz. I got Lauren Healy. We're at the 2018 Rigid Rampage at Ridgecrest. We're going to take a quick loop on the qualifying lap and give you guys a little checkout of the course. It's a 1.1 mile loop. And Lauren, what's your game plan? How hard are you going to run for qualifying? Do you want the clean air up front, or are you going to save the car?
No, absolutely. I mean, it's going to be really dusty out here on race day, and so, you know, my goal is always to be in the top 5 of qualifying, and the closer to the first, the better. So.
Well, thanks again, Lauren. Let's I'm excited. Let's take a lap.
Sounds good.
How cool was that? I'm still all smiles. That was the entire lap, 1.1 miles. Looks like we are live racing here. We are live racing. There's the 46.54. But on course first that you guys didn't see was the 46.93 of Atterbury. He's already got a time of 1:28.69, first time of the day. Taking off right now is 46.54. David Ball. So this is qualifying for the KMC Hard Charger. They have stepped up this season and will reimburse the fastest car per course. And this is setting up for tomorrow's 2018 Rigid Rampage at Ridgecrest. Like I said, this is in Southern California, not too far from home of King of the Hammers. This is going to be fun. We will run the 4600 Pro Comp stock class first. Then we'll move on to the So we'll have 5 different classes qualifying today. We'll have the 4600 Pro Comp stock class, the 4500 Rubicon Express modified class, the 4800 G2 Legends class, and the 4900 Can-Am UTV class, followed up finally by the 4400 Unlimited Big Boys. These guys are going to be pushing hard for tomorrow's big race. So remember, the 4600 Pro Comp stock class has to have a stock OEM frame, factory engine and transmission, maximum of a 35-inch DOT approved tire, single 2.5-inch shock, 1 per corner, and has to have mechanical steering. So most of these are Jeeps. On screen is a Toyota, but a lot of these are Jeeps that started out life as just grocery runners, you know, light trail rigs driving around town. Some of them are still street legal. Pretty cool to see the Pro Comp stock class step up and run, and there's a lot of the guys out here. We have, I believe, 11 in the Pro Comp stock class out here qualifying today for the KMC Hard Charger Award. We'll have roughly 86 cars that are signed up to qualify. We'll see how many we get out there on course. We will have 2 on course at a time. Up next is the 46-48. Brian Barron, hot on course. You see his time down at the bottom, the KMC ticker. So 46-54, David Ball with a time of 1:49.09. Sean McNamara, 46-96 with a time of 1:34.81. But the time to beat is Josh Atterbury's 1:28.69.
Next car on course is 4671.
Can you see these guys are pushing so hard, getting completely airborne? There's Brian Barron in his Cherokee, his Jeep Cherokee, sponsored by Pro Comp. And this is the Pro Comp stock class. Cool to see the sponsors really stepping up and helping this lower budget teams. It's a 1.1 mile qualifying course. You can see almost the entire course from here on the infield. Pretty cool to see. We've got a great view of everything. Coming around that corner right now, it's pretty straight downhill towards the checkered flag, so I expect to see some of the fast guys going right around 100 miles an hour. New fastest time, 46.95, Dawson Allington with a 1:28 even, bumping Atterbury out by 0.7 of a second. So right now, Dawson Allington is sitting in that KMC Hard Charger spot. Up next, Albert Contreras out of Compton, California. Jeep Thrills Jeep. On course is the 4671 John Snell in his Jeep Cherokee, really pushing hard. Remember, these guys want to start up front because tomorrow dust is going to be an issue. So that clean air would be really nice, along with getting your entry fee paid for. We have a couple live drones that'll be going on the entire KMC qualifier. Like I said, heat is going to be the issue of this weekend. It's seen temperatures of right around 111 degrees. They say it's a dry heat. It's still hot. It's a great aerial view of the pits. There's Gomez Brothers Racing right in the middle. Getting ready to take off. Albert Contreras, Jeep Thrills. Number 4605 and his TJJL. He's running those Pro Comp lights for tomorrow's night race. This is the last race of the Laser Nut Western Series. Up next will be the Nitto Triple Crown ending in Crandon over Labor Day, so be sure to tune in. But this weekend is all about the Rigid Rampage at Ridgecrest. Qualifying is hot and heavy as we speak. There's all the drivers that are lined up. Albert Contreras, hot on course for his KMC qualifying run. We should have roughly 11 in the Pro Comp stock class. 46-48, Brian Barron with a time of 1:35.35. So Dawson Allington still sitting in the KMC Hard Charger spot as we speak. I was talking to Albert Contreras earlier today. He's been out here the last couple weekends. He's only a couple hours away from here. He's been in this area pre-running quite a bit. He says he's over this heat, but he's out here really giving all he's got. So I'm very interested to see how well he does today. We will be live racing tomorrow with the 4400 class at 4 p.m. California time. So Central Time, that should be 6 o'clock. Eastern Time, 7. So tune in. We will be racing till right around midnight here. It's going to be a great race. This is our first time here at Ridgecrest. BLM has had open arms. We are working very closely with them. They've been great to work with. All our races have been, complying with everything. It's been going great. There's a great shot of Albert right there, really pushing hard in his Jeep JL. This is going to be a super quick time. You can see the Jeep getting airborne a couple times. Crosses the KMC checkers right there. So we should get Albert Contreras' time, 46:05. John Snell had a 1:26.81, and we just saw Contreras cross the line. But that does put John Snell in the KMC Hard Charger with that 1:26.81. We'll see if that sticks. We're still waiting on Contreras' time. But John Snell, 1:26.81, is sitting there as we speak. So Contreras with a time of 1:37.91. So that should put John Snell in that KMC Hard Charger. If that sticks, he will get his entry fee reimbursed. John Snell, the KMC Hard Charger. Congratulations, man. So we are hot and heavy for the 4900 Can-Am UTV class. 49.32, Scott Lesage with a time of 1:17.66. I do predict the 4400 class will be sub 1 minutes. We're looking at the Textron 435. So we just saw Lauren Healy, number 67, who I ran this course with earlier today in his big car. He got the time of 1:15.91, so that puts Healy in that KMC Hard Charger for now. But don't forget, we have Casey Shear coming up. Fast guys out on course. Casey Shear is coming down the hill, really pushing hard in his Can-Am. He actually helped me change one of our tires this morning. We had a flat tire on the production Toyota. He lended his tools in the hand and got us fixed up. We should get a time on Casey Shear very shortly. So that Textron's hot on course. How cool is that big rock? When I was riding with Healy in his 4400 car, you kind of just almost kiss that big rock, and it's really cool to see. So Casey Shear with a 1:17.47. So Lauren Healy with that 1:15.91, still in that KMC hard charger as we speak. And look how hard they're pushing the 4900 Can-Am class. These guys are looking for that clean air. There's the 1481 of Chase Caprera. I believe Brian Caprera is going to be riding with him in tomorrow's race. Ray Bullock, son of Dean Bullock, 435. We just watching that Textron with a 1:14.66. So that is the KMC. He just bumped out Lauren Healy. So we're watching Chase Caprera right now. And there goes 15:44.
If we don't press the button,
Don't press it.
there's a button.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
19:44, sorry, that's Greg Uffins on course we're watching right now.
No wonder this breaks.
Really pushing hard, trying to qualify well for today's KMC qualifying run. But in that KMC hard charger spot is Ray Bullock, number 435, with that 1:14.66. Bumped out Lauren Healy by right around a minute and a half. Just over 1 second. Chase Caprera just crosses the line, number 1481 with a 1:16.31. So that's a solid run, but still behind Ray Bullock. And you can see Dave Cole right there. He's making sure everything's running smooth. Andrew Walker on screen, the 4991, running that Can-Am with Twisted Monkey Racing. It's going to be a great evening for qualifying for tomorrow's 2018 Rigid Rampage at Ridgecrest. Like I said, we're in Southern California, not too far from the home of King of the Hammers. I've heard lots of people compare this. This could be a mini King of the Hammers. Shannon Campbell told me he'd, consider this very similar to the Mint 400. So 1944, that is Greg Uffins with a 1:19.59. So a solid run. All these guys are within about 5 seconds of each other. So everybody's running pretty smooth, pretty consistent. There's the 222 of Trey McKinley on course. We've got 4 cameras on course watching today. We got a couple live drones out there cruising around. This is pretty cool to see. We were skeptical if we could even pull off having a live show out here, being out in the middle of the desert, not having weeks to plan like King of the Hammers. So a great shout out to the Hammer King production crew for pulling this off. This is awesome. Thank you for everybody at home tuning in. Ultra4Racing.com/live. Hit the King of the Hammers Facebook. Hit the Ultra4 Racing Instagram. Hit the hashtag. Hit the shares. This is qualifying for the KMC Hard Charger for tomorrow's Rigid Rampage at Ridgecrest. There's a great shot of the 222, Trey McKinley, crossing over the desert. Watching there is Daniel Markley, the number 777, getting ready to take off. We've got 2 cars on course, so I'm doing my best to keep us honest. Everything I do say is unofficial until later tonight when we cross the T's, dot the I's, make sure everything went smooth today. We will have it on Ultra 4 Racing's website this evening to make sure where you are set up for tomorrow's race. So 222 Trey McKinley was 1:15.41, the 49.91. Andrew Walker got a time of 1:16 flat, but it's still Ray Bullock with a 1:14.66 sitting in the KMC Hard Charger spot. And if you're watching the intro, Roxy does have a few shirts left. These things glow in the dark, so make sure to check her out, get a little swag. One of the coolest shirts I've seen all season. Tomorrow we'll be racing into the night. I believe we will put a cold course right around 11:30 and then do awards, so it's going to be a long afternoon and night of racing, but be sure to keep tuned in. It sounds like we may have a new fast time hearing through Race Ops and my PCI radio. Looks like it's going to be number 24 of Cole Clark with a 1:13.09. I was talking to him in the Jimmy Spitz earlier. He was really going to push hard, and he just proved that. Cole Clark with a 1:13.09, new fastest time for the Can-Am class. The KMC Hard Charger position is filled up. Cole Clark. So Cole Clark over a 1.5 second lead over Ray Bullock. So Cole really threw a great rundown. Good job. And the 49.31, that's Jacob Versey. He had a little issues with his normal race car. He was setting this single-seater up for short course. Went to load his race car up in the trailer that he's been racing all season long, and the engine seized up. So last second he was scrambling. He figured it was quicker to do a little finishes touches to this single-seater than to rebuild a motor. So he's out in a brand new, untested car that is not set up for desert racing. But Jacob Versey really pushes hard. I'm sure he'll overcome the small issues he's got and has a quick run going, it looks like. Remember, there are 2 cars on course at a time. We're going to be getting qualifying going as quickly as we can. There should be roughly 19 UTVs in the 4900 Can-Am class. So it looks like 49.31, Jacob Versey with a 1:19.54. So a pretty solid run for 0 to no testing on that guy. I believe on screen is Travis Zollinger, the 220. So the first Legends car, 4807. That is Cade Rod, part of Jimmy's Army. I'm sure Randy Rod and Cotton Rod are home watching right now. Super excited to see Cade out on course. I was talking to him earlier. He's got Tom Liu riding with him shotgun. It's going to be very fun to watch those guys pushing the limits of that Jimmy's car out there on course. He's going to be pushing hard, trying to get that clean air in the 4800 G2 Legends class. So I believe it is going to stick. Number 24, Cole Clark, should get the KMC Hard Charger Award for the 4900 Can-Am UTV class. So he should join John Snell in those rankings for the KMC Hard Charger. should have roughly 25 4800 G2 Legends class cars starting. There's a great shot of K-Rod on course. We are going to be back-to-back-to-back live action qualifying today. Today is the KMC qualifying run getting set up for tomorrow's Rigid Rampage at Ridgecrest. We are in sunny Southern California. It is hot. It's still over 100 degrees and it's roughly 6:30. We're going to be battling the heat all weekend long. And there's a great shot. K-Rod is really pushing hard in that Jimmy's car. And he's chasing down David Hartman. And level in the Western Series points. This is the last race in the Laser Nut Western Series race. This is the third of the season. So that looks like it's going to be the 4894 of Rick Levezzo, part of Jimmy Jack Racing. So K-Rod with a time to beat of 112.34. K-Rod, fastest and first time. And I didn't get the 49.65 of Mark Crowley. He got a 134.25 in the 4900 Can-Am class. But we are hot and heavy in the 4800 G2 Legends class. So the 4894, Rick Levezzo on course, but the 4841, Jason Bunch, we should be getting his time over the PCI radio very shortly. And here it is. Jason Bunch with a time of 1:16.62. So K-Rod still in the KMC hard charger spot as we speak. There's a great shot of Rick Levezzo and his Bomber chassis on his Nitto tires. K-Rod out front with the fastest time for his class. Again, thank you everybody back home that's staying tuned in. Ultra4racing.com/live. We got another hour and a half of qualifying for the KMC Hard Charger Awards, getting set up for tomorrow, the 2018 Rigid Rampage at Ridgecrest. Again, we're in sunny Southern California, not too far from the home of the Nitto King of the Hammers. So the 4894 of Rick Levezzo with a 127.03 in his Bomber chassis. The 4874, David Hartman. He's battling for the Laser Nut Western Series points as well as the Series points. National Championship, that makes up of King of the Hammers, Nationals, and then any of the regional races, whether it's East or West. You choose 3 of your best races along with King of the Hammers and the National Championship. So that'll be up in the air until mid-October, October 20th and 21st at the Nitto National Championship. That's just outside of Reno, Nevada. Really close to Lake Tahoe, so make sure to tune in for that race. It's a spectacle to see, to say the least. So 4874, David Hartman with a 113.12. So right around 1 second behind teammate K-Rod, still holding that KMC hard charger. They're both pushing hard, and it shows On course, the 4868, Scott Morse. Behind him should be the 232, Brad Level, just taking off. I believe that's lots of action on course today. So it looks like the 4868 of Scott Morris with a time of 1:16:37. On course, Brad Level 232, heavily sponsored by AMS Oil. Thank you again, everybody, for staying tuned in. Ultra4racing.com/live. Hit the King of the Hammers Facebook, the Ultra4 Instagram. Hit the share button, hit the hashtags. We are live for qualifying for the KMC Hard Charger qualifier. So 48-24, Sean Leonardi. So Brad Level just crossing the checkered flag, but you're still watching 48-24, Sean Leonardini. So the PCI radio, Brad Level 122.06, so smooth and steady, a little off pace, but he's apparently saving the car for tomorrow's big race. They will be taking off right around 7:30 tomorrow evening, so the limited racers are going to have mainly a night race. 400 takes off 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, California time. And there's Sean pushing hard all the way to the KMC checkers. And something cool we just announced, King of the Hammers really stepped up this year with a few of our great sponsors. We have Monster, Nitto. There's $100,000 in the purse this year, and we also are bringing some of the fastest desert trucks in the world to you guys. The Toyo Tire Desert Invitational. We have a few of our guys out there racing against the biggest names in their sport. We got Rob McCachran, Robbie Gordon, Bryce Menzies, McMillans. I mean, this year, so the 2019 Nitto King of the Hammers is blowing up. Lots of money on the line, really cool to see. Getting ready to take off the 48-22. Todd McCullen patiently awaiting. So the 48-24, Sean Leonardini got a 1:35.97. Like I said, with this much action on the course at once, I'm doing my best to keep you guys updated. I do apologize if I miss a couple cues here and there, but there's a lot of racing action for today's KMC qualifier. Remember, KMC stepped up and will reimburse the fastest guys in each class for the KMC Hard Charger Award. Yeah, they get a cool hat and they get reimbursed their entry fee. So these guys have a lot on the line to race and to start out front in their class. So the fastest time for the 4800 G2 Legends class, sitting in the KMC Hard Charger position, is still the first guy to take off, 4807, Cade Rod, running Nitto tires, Jimmy's chassis. On screen, the 4822, Todd McCullen stirring up some dust, pushing hard, trying to have a smooth but fast qualifying run. looks like the 4819 of Jesse Lee got a 132.32. The 4849 got a 115.53, so that's a great run. Lots of chatter on the PCI radio. We have race ops. We have weatherman. Got a production in my ear. PCI crystal clear. So 4822. Todd McCullen hitting the KMC checkers. Finishing up his qualifying run. Getting everything set up for tomorrow's 2018 Rigid Rampage at Ridgecrest. The 4900 the 4900 Can-Am class was Cole Clark. 4822 that we just saw across a little bit ago, Todd McCullen with a time of 127 flat. But it's still Cade Rod, 112.34, time to beat. Looks like we have about wrapped up the 4800 class, so I do believe it should be Cade Rod starting out front in the 4800 G2 Legends class. Congratulations to him and Team Army. Sorry, Jimmy's Army. He joins fellow teammate Cole Clark. He set the fastest lap in the 4900 Can-Am class. And John Snell in the 4600 Pro Comp Stock class. Those are all our KMC hard chargers for today's qualifying. Great run by them. KMC is going to reimburse their entry fee. How cool is that? Get a cool hat, reimburse their entry. Huge shout out, KMC Wheels. So we just saw the 4437. How cool is that to have a live camera right at the start-finish line? You can see him on his cell phone. He's probably on the social media getting everything checked out. Again, thank you everybody tuning in. Ultra4racing.com/live. Check out the King of the Hammers Facebook, the Ultra4 Instagram. Looks like on course the 4889 Chris Ashton. And I missed a couple times. So 4437 with a time of 125.56. He is still in the Legends class. That is Dustin Sexton, the 4437. .4862, Cody Young with a time of 122.91. Cade Rod still sitting in that KMC hard charger position with a 112.34. And this is the 4800 G2 Legends class front engine. Vehicle has to have 2 seats side by side, 1 single shock per corner, a maximum of a 37-inch DOT tire, solid axles only. These are a lot of the retired 4400 cars that make it into Legends. There are definitely a few purpose-built cars. So qualifying's going smooth. This is the KMC qualifier, getting everything set up for tomorrow's 2018 Rigid Rampage at Ridgecrest. We are battling the heat. It's been up over 110 degrees today. Tomorrow's looking about the same. There is some wind out here, which is the racer's friend. Looks like that's Seth Van Dyke crossing the KMC checker as we speak. The 4838. We'll be getting a time for him over the PCI radio very soon. 4889 Chris Ashton with a 126.72. 4862 Cody Young with that 126.72. Lots and lots of fast cars today qualifying for the KMC qualifier, trying for that KMC Hard Charger Award. We've had lots of help. Thank you to all our sponsors, Rigid Industries, Ditto Tire, Laser, sponsoring the Western Series, PCI for our radios. Renegade Race Fuel's been on site at every single race this season, bringing you race fuel. Daddy's Food, bringing us food. They've been at every race as well. King Shocks, Jeep. We have our brand new JL and last year's JK out here. It was too hot to set course in the UTV, so we sent out the Jeeps. Monster Energy and Steal It. Without these guys, this would not be possible. We have a long list of sponsors I'll rattle off throughout the weekend. On course, the 223, Shane Smith. That's a retired Legends car. That used to be Bailey Cole's Legends car. They borrowed it just before the Oklahoma race. Had to dig it out of the barn, do a whole lot of maintenance, but they're out here racing. Here's some of the 4400 cars firing up, building a little oil pressure. These are the fastest guys in our sport.
What's that? In your head blew. My shot was out of focus.
So 4838. Was Seth Van Dyke with a 119.50, 48.58. Chris Brown with a 119.65. So it's still Cade Rod, first guy off the line and fastest in the day of the day in the 4800 G2 Legends class with a 112.34. Still waiting on one more time of Shane Smith, and I believe we'll wrap it up for the 4800 G2 Legends class. So far, the Hammer King safety crews hadn't had to work too hard. Everything's running smooth out there. Lots of fast times, lots of fast qualifying. Today it is the KMC qualifier. Getting everything set up for tomorrow's 2018 Rigid Rampage at Ridgecrest. See lots of the 4400 drivers walking up and down, giving high fives. Everybody's smiling, heading to their car. Their fire suits zipped up, getting belted in, helmets, doing some radio checks. The 4400 class about to kick off. Looks like I see Shane Smith done. He had a time of 1:30.53, so it should go to Cade Rod, the KMC Hard Charger, for the 4800 G2 Legends class. So up next is the 4500 Rubicon Express modified class. They can have 2.5 shocks per corner. They have to have some kind of mechanical steering. We've seen a lot of cool ideas with that, and a maximum of a 35-inch DOT tire. I smell the race fuel, I feel the wind, I feel the heat. This is going to be a great weekend, so much different than last month's Kentucky race. The KMC battle in the bluegrass was a muddy mess. Out here it's a dry, hot, zero water out here. So we will have lots of action today for the KMC qualifying. Thank you everybody for staying tuned in. Ultra4racing.com/live. Check us out live on Facebook, King of the Hammers. Hit up the Ultra4 Instagram, hit the hashtags. We do our best to keep everybody up to date. Again, everything I do say is unofficial until we dot the I's, cross the T's. It will be up on Ultra4's website this evening. So everybody please stay patient with us. We'll have everything updated as soon as we can. It's going to be a long evening for the Hammer King crew, getting everything set up for tomorrow's long, hot day of racing. We will go live at 3:45 tomorrow, California time. Racing should start right around 4 o'clock with the 4400 Unlimited class first. Usually we do it backwards, but we wanted to see the fast guys go fast in the daylight. We'll let the limited classes go in the dark. It's going to be hard to tell who's who, but it's going to be a lot of fun racing. So stay tuned in from 4 o'clock tomorrow all the way till right around midnight. That's our live drone. There's our start camera. We've got 4 live cameras on course, 1 live drone flying. So our 4600 Pro Comp stock class KMC hard charger, John Snell. Our 4800 G2 Legends class hard charger, Cade Rod. Our 4900 Can-Am UTV class was Cole Clark. First off the line, the 4580. John Matthews with a time of 1:25.25. 4510, Matt Howell sitting in that KMC hard charger with a 1:15.16, part of Tribe 16. Adam Shear riding shotgun. Number 63, that is Mr. Jimmy Jack himself with a 1:24.16. 4531, Sean Rance with a 1:20.40. Lots of fast racing to come. 4538 on course. That's Sarah Amaral, one of our female competitors. Pretty cool to see. Bailey Campbell will be racing in the 4400 class later on. So we have a few out there racing with us. I love seeing them step up and race hard with the big boys. 4538, Sarah Amaral with a 1:32.25. But it's still Matt Howell, Tribe 16, and that KMC hard charger with the time to beat of 1:15.16. Lots of action today in the KMC qualifying run. I've got my hands full trying to keep track of all the times, trying to keep the action on course, 2 cars at a time. Thanks for being patient. This is qualifying. There's the 45.67 of Jeremy Palmer crossing the KMC checkers. What a race we have on our hands today for qualifying. What a race it's going to be set up for tomorrow's 2018 Rigid Rampage at Ridgecrest in sunny Southern California. The issue of this weekend is not going to be rain. It's not going to be mud. It's the heat. It's been over 110 degrees for the drivers, for the cars, for the safety crew, for all our internet, for our computers. We've been battling it all weekend long, and so far, so good. It is what they call a dry heat, but it's hot. But I couldn't think of anything I would be rather doing this weekend is being right here with you guys. It's a great shot, running hard. The 45.64 of Darren, running good for his KMC qualifying run. So 45.31, Sean Rance with a 120.40, 45.38, Sarah Amaral, 132.25, 45.67 should be a 156. We're trying to keep as honest as we can, so we're a little off pace. I do apologize, but we're trying our best to keep the action coming. Again, thank you staying tuned in, ultra4racing.com/live. King of the Hammers Facebook will be live all evening and all afternoon through the night tomorrow. We will start a new Facebook thread per race. Hit all the hashtags for the Instagrams, tag all the pictures, tag all your videos. There's John Grounds with Daystar, the 45.70. He is really excited about this race. He loves the desert racing. He loves going fast. He's not a huge fan of the short course, but he has to do good in tomorrow's race, so he wants to push hard in the KMC qualifier. I was talking to him in the pits. This race is a make or break for him in the points. So he's going to be pushing hard tomorrow's Rigid Rampage at Ridgecrest. Legends class, the 48.98. He was in the wrong line, so we're going to push him up front. So 48.98, Arturo Soria. And I see all the big boys getting lined up. The 44 Unlimited class will be kicking off shortly. There's the one and only 3-time Nitto King of the Hammers, the only 3-time winner, the one and only Off-Road Hall of Fame, Shannon Campbell. With his Nitto Tires Monster Energy sponsored machine, I expect him to be pushing hard. He told me he's going to be pushing 90%. And he compared this race to the Mint 400. I've heard other people say this is a mini King of the Hammers. He's very, very excited to be pushing out in the desert. Campbell Enterprises, single seat IFS chassis. That is why we're here. The big boys are getting ready to take off. So So the 45.67, Jeremy Palmer with a 156.87. 46.64, Darren Delset with a 122.81. The 45.04, Travis Riley with a 140.90. So it's still, oh, and 45.70, John Grounds with a 129.34. So that still puts us, Matt Howell, 45.10, Tribe 16 with a 115.16, sitting that KMC hard charger. He'll be very excited for that. He was not planning on coming out here to Ridgecrest to race, but he had a couple bad races, so he's going for the series championship. So Matt Howell will be starting at the front of the pack for the 4500 Rubicon Express modified class. So Arturia Soria, the 48.98 with a 134.47, rounds up the 4500 Rubicon Express modified class. On course, you're watching the one and only Shannon Campbell, our only three-time winner of the Nitto King of the Hammers. Look at him absolutely flying towards the KMC qualifier. Checkered flag, he is pushing the limits, almost out of control. Doing close to 100 miles an hour. Through the PCI radio, I just heard JT Taylor chattering. Turn 2, Shannon Campbell bicycled the entire corner, but kept her under control with a great run. So the time to beat Shannon Campbell, 106.93. He was pushing hard. Off next is his son, Waylon Campbell. On course, we should be seeing him. And there's Bailey Campbell, so all three Campbells decided to run up front. She's in that fairly brand new two-seat IFS Campbell machine. All three Campbells qualifying first for today's KMC qualifier. So Waylon Campbell, the 108.25, just 2 seconds behind his dad. What a race. This is qualifying for the 4400 Unlimited Big Boys. The Campbells decided to qualify first. As we speak, it is Shannon with a 106.93 sitting in that KMC hard charger, but I do expect to see a double-digit time. We should be sub 1 minute. I got to ride with Lauren Healy, and he was absolutely flying. And he was only racing at 90%, he told me. During my little lap, there's number 40, Nick Nelson on screen. Had a little glitch there, but it looked like he was going fast. Nick Nelson, part of Jimmy's Army. He's got a 2-seat IFS machine, running a big block motor, Nitto tires. Nick Nelson loves the desert. He's going to be pushing hard. Bailey Campbell with a almost identical time of her brother. Bailey Campbell, the 108.75. Waylon with a 108.25. So a half a second splits those two. Less than 2 seconds split all three Campbells. So they're all pushing hard. We should be getting Nick Nelson's time here momentarily. Through the PCI radio, we have a new fast time. Mr. Nick Nelson, 106.69, just 0.3 of a second faster than Shannon Campbell. Holy cow, we got a race, a qualifying on our hands. There's Dan Fresh racing for Team Savvy in that bomber chassis. in the 4408 and fresh on course. Remember, we do have 2 cars on course at a time. I'll do my best to keep it honest. There's the 4480. I believe that's Chris Hicks. Running his KMC qualifier. But sitting in the KMC hard charger spot is Mr. Nick Nelson. He loves the desert. He's got a trophy truck as well. He will be running in the Toyo Invitation at the King of the Hammers in his trophy truck and racing his Ultra 4 car in the next day for the King of the Hammers. There's over $100,000 purse in the truck race and the unlimited race on Thursday and Friday. The sport is growing huge right now. 4408 Dan Fresh with a 120.59. He's the first solid axle car to run. Keeping a little conservative. There's Mr. Levi Shirley, number 81 out of Dodge City, Kansas, in his Campbell single IFS machine. He's really going to be pushing hard today for qualifying. He wants to start up front. He got some brand new shocks put on just today. Some of those King shocks. Getting everything dialed in. I was over there watching him just nut and bolt everything, making sure they went out and test and tune. Up next should be Bailey Cole, son of Dave Cole. Mr. King of the Hammers himself sends his son out in the desert for his KMC qualifier. So we should be getting a time for Levi Shirley, which is going to be super fast. We'll see if he can beat out Nick Nelson or not. He had a great run. So Levi Shirley with a 1:08.25. So identical to Waylon Campbell's time. And they are in identical cars. And those guys are battling out for this regional points. How cool is that to see young guns in the sport? Identical cars running identical times on the identical qualifying course. That just goes to show how fast these guys are. There is Bailey Cole on screen. He's running his dad's Baja car. It is a Trent Fab chassis, solid axle machine. He said his little trick up his sleeve tomorrow is never stopping. He's got plenty of fuel. He's got a 70-gallon fuel tank hanging off the back. So that's his trick. I believe that's Shane Chiddix in another Jimmy's Army 2-seat IFS machine. Shane Chiddix, the 7777, on screen, pushing hard. He's missed the last couple races, so he's excited to be out here racing with us once again. He had to put family first. He's relocating a little bit, so had to get all that handled, but glad to see Shane Chiddix on course.
Hey! Hey!
This is the KMC qualifier. What a great aerial view, taking that right-hand sweeping turn towards the KMC checkers. There's lots of chatter on the PCI radio, lots of action going on. So Bailey Cole, the 4454 with a 1:10.94, very smooth run. I believe that is the fastest solid axle so far this afternoon. We'll see. I was guessing a sub 1 minute, but Nick Nelson, our KMC hard charger as of now, with a 1:06.69. So I'm roughly 6 seconds off my guess. We'll see what happens. There's still lots of fast guys out there. Haven't seen Lauren Healy, haven't seen Paul Horschel. Both of those guys qualify. Haven't seen any of the Gomez brothers. Joe Thompson's filling in for Mike Bergman. Justin Foxworthy, number 10, getting ready to take off, waiting for the thumbs up from Dave Cole himself. He's running race ops, making sure the course is clear, making sure everybody's safe. 3, 2, 1, Justin Foxworthy, hot on course for today's KMC qualifier, getting everything lined out for tomorrow's 2018 Rigid Rampage at Ridgecrest here in sunny Southern California. And the word of the weekend is hot. We've seen temperatures of over 110 degrees. Just think they're in full fire suits, helmet. The cars, they're running them as hard as they can in this heat. It's going to be a race of attrition tomorrow. So Shane Chittick, 77.77 with a 1:15.78. And the top guys, so only 10 seconds are separating these guys, and 10 seconds put them towards the back of the pack as of now. I've got a great view of the course. I've got a great view of them racing. All three Gomez brothers are lined up at the back of the pack. So a lot of fast guys yet to come. There's Justin Foxworthy, number 10, cruising on his KMC qualifier, hitting the checkered flags. Again, thank you everybody back home staying tuned in. Ultra4racing.com/live. This is KMC qualifying. Have to give a little love to our sponsors. Without these guys, this would not be happening right now. Rigid Industries Lights, Nitto Tires, LaserNut is the Western Series sponsor. PCI Radio, Renegade Race Fuel, Daddy's Food, King Shocks, Jeep, Monster, and Steal It, just to name a few. I believe that's Darren Hinkey in his 2C Jimmy's chassis with his there's number 71. Number 71, John Hall, hot on course. Number 71, John Hall on screen. We've got 4 live cameras plus the live drone checking everything out. It's a 1.1 mile loop for today's KMC qualifier. And it's still Mr. Nick Nelson. So how cool is this? 44.41. That's Darren Hinkey with an identical time of Bailey Campbell with a 1:08.75. And then we have Levi Shirley and Waylon Campbell with identical times, down to the 10th of a second, down to the 100th of a second. Pretty cool to see everybody's pushing the limits and right there in those same times. We should be getting a time for John Hall, number 71, here very soon. We have roughly 38 unlimited cars qualifying today. Wacker out of Texas, number 91, with Josh England riding shotgun. You just saw hit the KMC checkered flags. Twisted Monkey Racing. I'm sure his wife and young son, probably 6 months old by now. No, I'm wrong. No, it's 6, probably 2 months old by now. So number 71, John Hall, the 1:15.53, trying to get caught up. Alex Wacker, we just saw him cross the line. Number 91 with a 1:14.37. So less than 15 seconds is spreading everybody right now. But it's still Mr. Nick Nelson on the pole for the KMC Hard Charger with a time of 1:06.69 time to beat. And he's only 0.3 of a second in front of Shannon Campbell. Pushing hard all the way to the KMC checkered flag. He's running a solid axle. Number 31, Matt Trevino with a 1:16.88. Wow, this is being tight for the qualifying course. A 1.1 mile loop that's almost all visible by the pits. Great to see. Tomorrow's race is a 50-mile loop. The limited classes will take 2 laps. The unlimited boys will be doing 3 laps. So it'll be a 100 miles, 2-lap race for them. And absolutely flying all the way to the checkered flag was Lauren Healy. Remember, you guys gotta see me ride with Lauren earlier, and I'm gonna guess that could be the fastest time. He was absolutely flying. It'll be interesting to see if he can bump out teammate Nick Nelson. It's going to be close. We'll wait till we get our official time. Remember, everything I do say is unofficial until we dot the I's, cross the T's. And new fast time, Mr. Lauren Healy, 2-time Nitto King of the Hammers with a 1:05.56, over 1 second faster than Nick Nelson. Nick Nelson and Lauren Healy have almost identical cars. Like I said, I'm smiling ear to ear. I got a ride in that car today on the qualifying course, and he was absolutely flying, and he just proved why he is a prior 2-time Nitto King of the Hammers winner. Crossing the line now is Brian Caprera in his older 2-seat IFS Campbell chassis. His other car, he blew the motor up in Kentucky, didn't have quite enough time to get the motor sent off. He said he'll have the motor next week, so that wasn't in time. On screen, Eric Miramon in his solid axle 2-seat machine. So sitting in that hard charger award is Lauren Healy with a 1:05.56. Brian Caprera with the 9901 with a time of 1:15.06. And Brian Caprera's 2-seat older Campbell's chassis may be for sale here in the near future. So if you're watching this, want to get involved, get a hold of old Brian Caprera. He may have a car for you. He's having a new car built by Joe Thompson, a single-seat UFO machine. We're watching Eric Miramon. There's Mike Boo on screen, number 54. He just purchased Tom Way's single-seat machine, but he couldn't get it all dialed in. He knew his old solid car was ready to rock, so he's here in Ridgecrest in his old car. Mike Boo, number 54, hot on course for today's KMC qualifier. So 42.15. Eric Miramon with a time of 1:15.78. There's Cody Addington. He's new to that car this season. The old Red Dragon, number 888. Cody Addington, hot on course, running the Nitto tires. It's a single-seat IFS Jimmy's car. That might be the winningest chassis in Ultra 4 history so far. His first race at the Metal Cloak Stampede, he got second place. He was doing well in Oklahoma, running way up front. I believe he had a rear drive shaft issue. But he did a lot of TLC in that racing here. Cody Addington going to be pushing hard, ADD Racing. Remember, he's the one that started racing with us in the stock class in his little Toyota. He's moved a long way, had a 2-seat solid axle Trout built machine, and moved into this single-seat IFS Jimmy's car. Really pushing hard all the way to the KMC checkers. Those Nitto tires flinging up the dust. Cody Addington. Get the time for him shortly. He was really scooting. Best of luck to him. But still sitting in the KMC Hard Charger Award. 2-time winner of the Nitto King of the Hammers, Lauren Healy. Now you know why I chose to ride in his car. That thing's a blast. It's fast, it's fun. Lauren Healy can drive. I do a little UTV racing back home, so I'm not, I understand how all this stuff works. It's fun, it's fast. A few times he hit some of those jumps, I thought we were going to endo it, and it just soaked it up and it was absolutely nothing. These 4400 cars really lay down some fast runs. Should be the 5150 of Brendan Thompson on course. Would we get a time for Cody Addington? It was a 1:10.82. So that's a pretty solid mid-run pack. He'll be happy with that. On course, on screen, 5150, Brendan Thompson. He's been racing with us for quite a while. On screen, number 50, that's Jeremy Brown. So number 50, Jeremy Brown, on screen. This solid axle machine. Remember, we still have all the Gomez's. We haven't seen Paul Horschel yet. I expect to see Paul Horschel. I talked to him quite a bit in the pits today. He's definitely going to be pushing that 90% pace. He wants some of that fresh air. Remember, at this year's King of the Hammers, he was our pole setter, so he has proven to be fast. Yet to see. That is Mike Bergman's machine, driven by Joe Turtle Thompson, the lead of UFO fabrication. I'm sure Mike's at home watching. He's made every single race this season, so he's decided to put Joe in the car. He's having a kid this weekend, so he made the smart choice, getting those brownie points, staying at home. Family first. Good job, Mike. But Joe Turtle Thompson on course in that IFS IRS beautiful built UFO machine. It's cool to see him be able to build it and still drive. He said he's going to be probably running that 75% pace. It's not his car to break. He wants to be smooth for Mike's points. You can have one fill driver per season. So Mike Bergman decided this was it. Put Joe Thompson in there. Number 33, Mike Bergman's machine. Crosses the KMC checkered flag. On course now, number 34, Jeff McKinley with Iron Man Racing. So Brendan Thompson with a time of 1:19.44. Jeremy Brown, number 50, with a 1:19.06. So we'll have 3 more UFO built machines hitting the course at the end of the day. They will be our last race cars on course, the Gomez Brothers Racing. Up next, the number 1177 of Mark Nicholson. So 34, Jeff McKinley just crosses the finish line. We'll get his time shortly. Number 1177, Mark Nicholson on screen. Number 33, Mike Bergman's time, driven by Joe Thompson's 1:16.93. Number 34, Jeff McKinley with a 1:12.44. So how close is this? It's very impressive. Sitting in the KMC Hard Charger, the one and only two-time Ditto King of the Hammers winner, Lauren Healy. KMC has stepped up this season and will reimburse the fastest guy in each class. .1982 on course is Don Fisher, getting ready to cross the finish line. Lots of action. Number 1982 on screen, Don Fisher and his straight axle machine. Like I said, lots of action today. Thank you for putting up with me. I'm doing my best to keep you guys honest. Stay tuned in, ultra4racing.com/live. We're live on Facebook, King of the Hammers. Hit us up on, hashtag us on Instagram, Ultra4Racing and King of the Hammers. And on screen, 19, Paul Horschel, his single seat IFS machine. He's got huge horsepower. It's similar to a trophy truck. Lots of torque. Paul Horschel's building a new car he'll debut at King of the Hammers. It'll be 2 seats, but I can hear these guys pushing the absolute limits. Number 19, Paul Horschel. Remember, he was the pole setter at the 2018 Nitto King of the Hammers. So expect to see a very fast time out of Paul Horschel. We'll see if he can bump out Lauren Healy. It's going to be fast. It's going to be close. We are down to our last roughly 5 drivers. We've had around 80 cars today on course. We'll have 38 in the 4400 Unlimited class tomorrow for the 2018 Rigid Rampage at Ridgecrest in sunny Southern California. The sun is setting, but the word of the weekend is hot. There's Paul Horschel getting some airtime, heading down the hill towards the KMC checkered flag, really pushing hard all the way to the end. We'll see what kind of time Paul Horschel gets. So the 1982, Don Fisher with a time of 1:13.97. So there's Jeremy Eland, MBRP, number 1014. He's running the Nitto tires. So Paul Horschel is our 3rd fastest of the day with a 1:07.13, so still a very, very solid run. When I was talking to Lauren Healy earlier today, when I got a ride with him, I said, how hard are you going to push it today? He said he's going to push very hard. He wants to be top 5. He didn't necessarily say he wanted the top spot, but he said he'd take it, and that's where he sits, in the KMC Hard Charger spot. But remember, we have 3 of the Gomez brothers yet to come. There's Edwin Add taking off the 4475 Pro Comp sponsored machine. I can hear Jeremy Eland really opening up all the way to the KMC checkers. And where these guys are starting is the King Shock rhythm section. So again, a huge shout out to KMC Wheels for sponsoring today's qualifier. And they've stepped up to reimburse the fastest guy per class their entry fee. So a huge shout out to KMC Wheels. Edwin Abb on screen, number 4475 and his solid axle machine. And this is a little interesting clip that I've been crunching my numbers right. There's still a lot of guys trying to qualify for next year's 2019 Nitto King of the Hammers. Out of 16 non-qualified drivers that are entering in tomorrow's race, there are 10 spots. So this is a great chance for them to qualify. Only 6 will not. So there's a little strategy into play. We'll see how that goes. And I hear some horsepower taking off. That must be a Gomez hitting the course hard in their UFO built machines by Joe Thompson that is also racing for Mike Bergman this weekend. There's Edwin Abb hitting the KMC checkers. We're doing our best to keep you guys updated. There's Raul Gomez, 4483, the first of the Gomez brothers racers out on his KMC qualifier. They got here just a few hours ago, took a couple laps on the qualifying course. They had some work to do. You know, they're heavy workers up in Northern California, and they're dealing with the forest fires up there, so huge shout out to them. I believe that was JP Gomez that just took off. That could be Marcos, sorry. The IFS IRS machine. 48486 is Marcos, I was mistaken. So Raul just finishes, and all three brothers said they're going to qualify, and they're the last to qualify, so they're staying in their car, heading straight out to pre-run the 50-mile course right after this. So there's Marcos on screen. We'll get you some times real quick. Number 4475, Edwin Abb with a 136. 4483, that's Raul Gomez with a 108.31. So just a couple seconds off the leaders. So Raul really with a solid run. I believe that's at least top 10, maybe even top 5. Raul really pushed hard. There's a great aerial clip of Marcos Gomez and the Ugly Duck pushing hard all the way to the KMC checkers. There he hits it. So JP Gomez is our last car on screen. Last car of today's KMC qualifier, so we'll get our last few times. Looks like 4486. Marcos Gomez with a 111.50, so 3 seconds behind his brother. Last car on course, 4482. JP getting ready to hit the KMC checkered. I'll get his time very shortly. But so far, it's going to be Lauren Healy. So we're waiting for our PCI radio right here to get our last time for JP to see if he can bump out Lauren, but it may be Lauren Healy in the KMC hard charger position for the 4400 class. So a huge shout out to Rigid, Nitto, Lasernut, KMC, PCI, Renegade Race Fuel, King, Jeep, Monster, and Steal It, just to name a few. Those are the sponsors. Without those guys, we would not be here racing today. And the final time of the day for JP Gomez is a 1:07.45. So JP really threw down a great time. Just 2 seconds off of Lauren Healy's pace. So the KMC hard charger for the 4400 class, number 67, Lauren Healy, fastest car of the day. So again, thank you. It's been a great day of racing. This has been the KMC qualifying run for tomorrow's 2018 Rigid Rampage at Ridgecrest. Thank you everybody for staying tuned in. Ultra4racing.com/live. Hit up the King of the Hammers Facebook. Hit up the Instagram. It's been a great day for qualifying. It's been hot. The wind is blowing, so that feels great. It's going to help the wind tomorrow. It's going to be a long, hot afternoon of racing. We will go live at 3:45 Pacific time. So be sure to tune in tomorrow. We'll race from 4 o'clock all the way till roughly midnight to get both races in. We'll start off at 4 o'clock with the 4400 Unlimited class in the daylight. And they'll shut them off right around 7 o'clock. At 7:30, we'll fire off the limited classes, the 4600 Pro Comp Stock class, the 4500 Rubicon Express Modified class, the 4800 G2 Legends class, and the 4900 Can-Am UTV class. So lots of racing action tomorrow. Thanks for watching today's KMC Qualifier. Again, I'm Miles Hasselquist. I'll be with you all weekend long, all season long. We'll see you guys tomorrow.